This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Death toll rises above 79 after Somalia's Mogadishu bomb attack. Nigerian President Buhari condemns killing of 11 Christians by terror group ISWAP, calling it barbaric. And Hong Kong police detain a dozen protesters found disrupting businesses at a major shopping mall. Hello and a very warm welcome to Africa Live here on CGTN. I'm Mahia Mutua in Nairobi, also coming up on the program. Zambia's president and entire cabinet to take a pay cut as cost of living and energy prices soar. And how community sociotherapy is helping Liberians deal with trauma from war and Ebola. Welcome to Africa Live. Now we start the bulletin in Somalia, where the government spokesperson has just confirmed that the death toll from a car bomb attack has risen to 79 people. 149 people have been injured and students account for many of the casualties. The country's prime minister said the government would airlift any victims who couldn't receive help in Somalia. CGTN's Astatal has the latest.
It was a morning rush hour at this tax collection center. Now, people mill around the wreckage caused by a car bomb. A suicide bomber drove the car filled with explosives through the busy street. Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo condemned the attacks, urging medical care for the injured. Most of the wounded or dead were students.
Today was a horrific day. We received the 52 injured persons at our hospital. I was also later informed that there were 29 of them with minor injuries who were discharged after receiving treatment. Many people died. We received 72 bodies at Medina Hospital. We attended to the injured patients at our hospital. We believe we can handle the situation.
Mogadishu has continued to bear the brunt of militant attacks. In 2017, the Somali capital witnessed its deadliest attack. Over 500 were killed in a truck bombing carried out by Al-Shabaab. For now, the country focuses on dealing with the latest devastating attack. Astatal, CGTN.
Well, as you heard there, Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has just spoken a short while ago, saying he will ask the cabinet for emergency support for the victims of the bomb blast. He also blamed the Al-Shabaab for the attack.
Al-Shabaab do not take part in the country's development. They contribute to its destruction. They don't take part in the rebuilding of schools or health centers. They are less concerned about the future of the Somali children. Instead, they are committed in denying the Somali people of any progress. They are engaged in killing of innocent people and keeping the future of this country in the dark. I want to request the Somali cabinet for emergency relief support to the citizens massacred in this heinous act.
Well, earlier we spoke to Mohamed Kahie Mohamed, a journalist in Somalia, about the blast.
The mayor of Mogadishu, Omar Mahmoud, was there, and then he pointed finger to the armed group Al-Shabaab, which he said they're behind this attack, though the group has not up to now released any statement as they have been doing it previously. So this is one of the worst attacks since the 2017 October attack that more than 500 or 300 people were killed. Well, there is no comment from the security agencies, including the police so far. But remember, this attack comes amid heightened security across the city for the past months, which in fact reduced the number of attacks carried out by armed group Al-Shabaab. So I think this was being expected because there has been increased checkpoints across the city, security operations carried out across, a number of people arrested in connection to trying to carry out attacks across the city. Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, is actually a volatile city when it comes to security in the country. Business has been one of the largest affected by the insecurity in Somalia. You can remember the hotel attack, SYL attack, where the armed group Al-Shabaab gained access and carried out some attacks, and many people were killed. So most of the targets that the armed group target is the business centers and business areas where they get more damages on this, and also government installations are also becoming a target. So most casualties are people who are, doing business in the city. The government has, in the past months, closed key roads entering the city center, which affected many small businesses in Somali capital. But generally, the security is improving across the city with increased checkpoints and other mechanisms, including CCTV cameras.
To Nigeria now, where more condemnation continues after the execution of 11 Christians by terrorist group ISWAP. The country's President Muhammadu Buhari described the killings as barbaric, saying it does not represent the Islamic faith. He says the killings are an attempt to divide the nation across religious lines. More in that report from CGTN's Kelechi Emekalam.
Buhari's reaction came through an official statement released from the presidency. It says, and I quote, "These agents of darkness are enemies of our common humanity, and they don't spare any victim, whether they're Muslims or Christians. And therefore, we shouldn't let them divide us and turn us against one another." End of quote. The Islamic State group recently released a video purportedly showing the killing of 11 Christians. The group claimed government failed to negotiate their release. What's more, they're avenging the death of their leader. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed in October during a U.S. raid in Syria.
On Christmas Day, while the Christians are celebrating and the Christian has been killed, it's going to bring some kind of grievances to the Christian. But by the way, I'm not saying that the Christians should react, but all we just want in this country is just peace.
It is quite worrisome, stating that those people that are having this issue don't even know how to go about it. So I want to believe that we still have a long way to go as regards this. The federal government needs to buckle up. They have to look for modalities to comb this current challenge.
Buhari himself, a Fulani Muslim, has severally been accused of being biased towards the religion. But he has urged Nigerians to be united in the fight against insurgency and avoid conspiracy theories that serve the interests of the terrorists. Terrorist groups have remained active in Nigeria's northeastern region in the past 10 years. Tens of thousands have been killed and millions displaced from their homes. The wanton destruction has also stalled economic activities in the region, leading to a massive humanitarian crisis. Kelechi Emekalam, CGTN Abuja, Nigeria.
Now, a joint naval exercise by China, Russia and Iran entered its second day. Iranian state TV broadcast footage of the drills on Friday. It said this is the first such drill held by the three countries in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Oman. The four-day event is aimed at boosting the security of the region's waterways. Russia's defense ministry said it sent 3 ships from the Baltic Fleet, including a frigate, a tanker, and a rescue tugboat. China said its Xining guided missile destroyer is participating in the drills. Turning to Hong Kong now, where police have detained around a dozen protesters accused of disrupting businesses at a shopping mall in the border town of Sheung Shui. Demonstrators have been targeting malls across the city since Christmas Eve, allegedly targeting traders and shoppers from the Chinese mainland. It's been more than 7 months since rallies first broke out in Hong Kong. Protests were initially sparked by a fugitive bill, which has since been withdrawn. You're watching Africa Live here on CGTN. Coming up on the program, Zambia's president and entire cabinet to take a pay cut as cost of living and energy prices soar. And how community sociotherapy is helping Liberians deal with trauma from war and Ebola.
Images may appear to be identical, but looks can be deceiving. The difference is not always obvious. It has to be discovered. There are always different sides to a story. We put the focus on the details. To see more, to understand better. CGTN. See the difference.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Welcome back. Now, Zambia's President Edgar Lungu and his cabinet will take a salary cut. This is part of measures to ameliorate the impact of a 115% power tariff hike announced on Friday. The southern African country is experiencing a severe power shortage after a drought-induced drop in water levels at its hydropower plants.
President Edgar Lungu has ordered a reduction of between 15% and 20% in his and other senior government officials' salaries in the wake of the power tariff hike, which kicks in on January 1st. His gesture is seen as an attempt to try and pacify public anger over the increase, which has also been accompanied by a hike in the price of fuel due to a depreciation in the value of the Zambian kwacha. Like its southern neighbor Zimbabwe, Zambia is heavily reliant on hydropower and has been plunged into crisis due to a severe drought that has cut generation capacity, leading to rolling power cuts of up to 15 hours per day. Saddled with debt and facing viability problems, Zambia's power utility, ZESCO, has been unable to expand its energy infrastructure on its own and has also failed to attract new investors due to the fact that it's been charging sub-economic tariffs, something it sought to address with this latest adjustment. Mahia Mutua, CGTN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Now, in Africa, many women wear hair extensions to enhance their beauty despite the high cost. One woman has, however, found an affordable solution while also offering an environmentally friendly hair product. Let's take a look.
Natengeneza makonge kuwa nywele za kusukia. Tangu mwanzo nikiwa mtoto nilikuwa nadhani watu wanatumia makonge kusuka. Venye nimegrow up kufika 15 years, nika realize kwamba hawatumii makonge, wanatumia nywele. Wengine wanasema nywele za punda. Haikati nywele. Ukipata hizi synthetic, unapata nywele imekatika hivi. Na makonge haikati, ili hali inafanya nywele ina grow haraka. Kitu ya pili, hii nywele ya makonge nikinyeshewa hata na mvua ama nishtukanie nimemwagiwa maji nikioga, hainuki. Na ile synthetic ukishaweka maji inanuka.
Ukitumia hii Sisal inatoa neat na ni smart, inakaa kwa muda mrefu, lakini ukitumia hiyo ingine inaharibika haraka. Alafu ukitoa unarusha, lakini ukitoa uwezi ukarusha, unaweza rudia hata mara 3, mara 4 ndio urushe.
Chagua hizi juu nikishukia sisikii uchungu, hizi haziumizi, alafu zinakaa for long bila kuharibika, alafu zinakaa smart. Alafu then unaweza shukia several, unaweza shukia utoe, tena ushukie style ingine.
Grief and trauma are still common in Liberia, a country that is still haunted by a 14-year-old civil war. An Ebola outbreak also killed over 4,800 people there. Experts believe that a tenth of the population suffers from mental illnesses. But for a country with only one registered psychiatric hospital and few health workers with adequate knowledge of mental illness, community sociotherapy is helping fill the gap. CGTN Susan Mongeli now reports.
My name is Prince. When I was 14 years, rebel forces attacked my hometown. We were in the house. They attempted to set our house on fire. As a young boy, they immediately took me with them because at the time, they had lost many soldiers in the battle. I did not participate actively in the war, but I was their errand boy. And yes, I witnessed a lot of bad things. I always feel terrible when I remember.
Prince's story is by no means unique in Liberia. He's just one among tens of thousands with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, brought about by the civil war and further deepened by the Ebola crisis.
When it started, my daughter complained of a high fever. I took her to a health center here. They could not treat her, so I brought her back home. After a week, the Ebola team came and took her away to the treatment unit in the community. In the evening, we went to check up on her but didn't find her. We were told she had been transferred to the main unit and it was confirmed she had Ebola.
Her daughter eventually died, as was the case with thousands of Ebola victims in the country. Both the civil war and the Ebola outbreak left deep scars. In the case of Ebola, communities were quarantined, leading to a lack of trust and social cohesion. Zoa International, in partnership with YMCA Social Welfare, has been leading a program on community-based sociotherapy as a way to rebuild trust.
It's a project that molds the minds of people, that bring people together to solve problems, to be able to solve problems at the community level instead of going to court. You are almost something like counseling. You talk to people, I'm able to solve my problem. If, for example, you have an experience and I bring my problem to the group, you'll be able to explain to me how you overcame your problem in the past.
Participants attend weekly sessions for 4 months, led by a trained local facilitator.
The program works for everybody, people who are Muslim, people who are Christians. We come together to discuss our problem. People who are mentally ill, people who have this kind of mental disorder because of things that happen in their home, because of violence. We also have to do with SGBV, people who are being abused by their husband, people who are being abused by their wives, and people who abuse their children. So the program teaches people how to conduct themselves in the home, how to handle their homes, how to take care of the home, how to live in harmony and peace.
Such sessions have been replicated in various parts of Liberia, and not only do they provide a means of healing wounds of the past, but also promoting social cohesion, which is very critical for a country like Liberia as it seeks to chart a new path. More than 10,000 people across the country are expected to participate in the program by the end of 2020.
Since I came in contact with social therapy here, I have begun to feel happy again because I interact with other people who appear to want the best for me. It takes my mind off those issues that happened before. I'm now being introduced to issues of safety. It has really motivated me, and I can say now I feel I can make something out of myself.
However, there are those that argue that such programs are not doing enough. and that accountability and bringing perpetrators of war to justice is the only way to bring about deeper reconciliation. But without a war crimes court as recommended by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2009, community-based social therapy appears to be the only chance at bringing peace and healing to Liberia, at least for now. Susan Mungeli, CGTN, in Monrovia, Liberia.
We're coming up on the sports news here on CGTN. Here's what's coming up. We take you to the Kenyan coastal city of Lamu to learn more about the traditional board game, Keram.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
South African road cyclist Nicholas Dlamini has broken his arm after he was stopped by rangers in Table Mountain National Park while on a training ride. A fellow cyclist, Donovan Lecoq, filmed part of the incident on a cell phone. At one point, an audible crack or pop can be heard, though it was not immediately clear if this was the sound of a bone breaking. South African National Parks says Dlamini was suspected of entering the park without paying an entrance fee, and a scuffle ensued when he failed to show the requested documentation. His team says the injury will have a serious effect on his hopes of competing at the 2020 Olympics. They also called for a full public apology and immediate disciplinary procedures against those involved. To China now, where African athletes put up a good account for themselves during the 10th edition of the Danzhou International Marathon. Before the race, there was a torch relay ceremony which saw a flame collected from Greece lit up in the host city, making Danzhou the first Chinese city to collect a flame for a marathon event from Greece. The marathon then got underway with 18,000 runners from 20 different countries and regions taking part in the 42-kilometer race. Africa's professional athletes showcased the best combination of speed and endurance on the Chinese island as Kemboi Ezekiel Kipruto of Kenya won the men's race in 2 hours 19 minutes and 51 seconds. Meskerem Tesfaye Fikadu from Ethiopia claimed the women's title in a time of 2 hours 51 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, in one of Kenya's oldest towns, Lamu, Keram is a game that helps pass time in the evenings. The board game, which has its roots in India, has been categorized as a traditional sport in the country. The players say the game not only helps forge stronger friendships, but also helps them escape vices that could otherwise ruin their lives. CGTN's Beryl Oro with more.
Walking in Lamu's Market Square in the evenings, you are bound to meet such a group. At first sight, it might look like a group having a heated discussion, but on a closer look, you realize they are deep into a game. The game is Karom, a board game that originates from India but is not as familiar in most African countries. In Lamu, the game has, however, been categorized as a cultural sport. But just how is the game played?
The game is played by 4 people, 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. The objective of the play is to use a striker disc with a flick of the finger to get all your discs in. Just like when you're playing 8-ball pool, you have to pocket the king, which is a red one in this game, before your opponent does. However, you do that before pocketing your last disc. This is how you clear the game.
In other parts of the world, the game is used competitively, but in this island, it is used as a recreational activity.
This is just for fun. We come here to change our thoughts by playing carom and nothing else.
When we are together is when we have fun and we avoid things like drug abuse, and instead we come here and play. We welcome all those who want to come and join us.
Despite the game being a pastime activity, this hasn't stopped it from gathering fans who come to cheer their favorite players.
The people, mainly. They are very expert in playing, but most important is they are all friends. But sometimes they shout as if they were fighting. Yesterday, it's part of the game, yes. And they did welcome me, despite the fact that I'm Zungu, I'm a woman, I'm okay.
The Karum players in Lamu have created an association where members pay around $3 for registration. And as they continue to enjoy the game, they hope that they have a chance to take part in future cultural events so as to spread the popularity of the game across the island. Beryl Oro, CGTN.
Finally, to the English Premier League's Saturday action now.